Thank you so much. Michelle Ellicks from the Registry of Motor Vehicles is here today to speak to us about their services and how things have changed since the pandemic and what they're doing to help the community, especially seniors. Welcome, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. It's so good to see you, and thanks everyone for joining us today. So really, we are excited to have an initiative to help our customers who are 75 and older with any sort of registry transaction, Debbie. So, thank you for the opportunity to talk to residents in your community because we want to let our customers know that the registry is here to help them get whatever they need in terms of licensing or ID cards or disability placards, you name it. So I want to let your residents know that we have a dedicated telephone number for customers who are 75 years old or older, and it's part of our contact center. And the telephone number is area code 857 368 8005. So I'll repeat that if anybody's jotting it down, 857 368 8005. And that is our 75 and older dedicated telephone line. And that line, our staff is available to help people make an appointment if they have to come into the registry to renew their driver's license. Because here in Massachusetts, the law requires in-person license renewals for people who are 75 years old and older or older. So, keep that in mind. If you're 75 and your license is due to expire, you do have to make an appointment. Because of the pandemic, we have gone to an all appointment system. So the Registry of Motor Vehicles can no longer accept walk-ins. So everything is by appointment. Now, obviously, you could make an appointment online. But if you don't have access to the internet, or you just don't want to make an appointment online, you can call us again at that telephone number, 857 368 8005, and our staff will help you. The other thing we want to remind folks, Debbie, about is that our website, the Registry of Motor Vehicles website, has more than 40 different transactions that people can do online, which is really exciting. So we always want to remind folks to start online, always start online, because you might be able to get what you need to get done completely online. For instance, renewing a Mass ID card. So if you hold a Massachusetts ID card and that's due to expire, you most likely will be able to renew that online. So start at our website. Always make sure that you are on the Registry of Motor Vehicles website, which is mass.gov/RMV. And I'll repeat that, mass.gov/RMV. And that's the Registry of Motor Vehicles website. And that's where you can find more than 20 different online transactions. If you move, you can update your address online. If your ID is due to expire, like I said, you can renew that online. Now, here's the thing. We are encouraging everyone who can to renew online. And some of you might be thinking, well, I kind of want that real ID. So I don't know if you've heard about the real ID, but that is the federally compliant credential that will be required to fly within the US. Right now, nobody needs to have a real ID. It's not a requirement to have a real ID right now. The current deadline where TSA will begin to ask to see either a real ID or a valid passport in order to fly within the US. The current date is October 1st of this year. Okay, so October 1st of this year. So apparently on October 1st of this year, TSA will be looking to see either a real ID or a valid passport from the person trying to board that airplane. Now, given the pandemic, Debbie, and all that's going on, I wonder, and I have a sneaky suspicion that that deadline might be pushed off another year. So I want people to understand, don't stress over getting yourself the real ID right now, because we don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need it. And so we want to offer people this incentive to renew their standard driver's license online or renew their standard ID online. And then once the state of emergency is lifted and the pandemic's behind us, we'll allow these customers who hold the standard ID that renewed it during the state of emergency online to come in, and we'll upgrade it to the real ID for free. So at no additional charge. So, if you are eligible to renew your ID or your license online, do it. Do it. Get it done online. And then if you're interested in getting the real ID, once the state of emergency ends, like I said, you can make an appointment, come on in, and we will upgrade that standard license or standard ID card to a real ID, federally compliant ID. So we have another exciting program for our older customers, which is Senior Days. So in order to keep our seniors safe and to allow them to visit the Registry of Motor Vehicles and be completely confident that they are going to be safe. We social distance, obviously. Everyone must wear masks, obviously, when they visit the registry. But on Wednesday mornings, Debbie, we have senior hours, and the hours might vary from registry to registry, but Wednesday mornings are dedicated for our customers who are 75 or older to come in. Again, by appointment. You have to make an appointment in order to come in any day of the week, but we encourage our customers 75 and older to visit us, make an appointment to visit us on Wednesday mornings, because there's greater social distancing. We're spreading out the appointments so that there's not a big crowd at the registry on a Wednesday morning, which with this appointment system statewide and every day of the week, there aren't really big crowds. We've managed it so that with the appointment system, that's really cutting down on any crowds or lines. But again, we're abiding by all of the COVID safety measures put in place by the administration. But we want to remind folks that if you do have to come in to renew your driver's license because you're 75 and older, I suggest that you make the appointment during our Senior Days, senior hours, which is again Wednesday mornings. Keep in mind, everybody, that AAA is a great partner of the registries. So if you're a AAA member, you can renew your license or your ID card at AAA. AAA has gone to an appointment-only system as well, and you need to go online to AAA's website to make an appointment. And that website is AAA.com/appointments with an S at the end. So AAA, for AAA reservations, visit AAA.com/appointments. But so that's another great safe alternative for our customers to take care of a transaction if they have to do one in person. But remember, always start online. If you have access to the internet, always start online at the registry's website, and chances are you'll be able to complete that transaction. And again, you've got that telephone number, dedicated senior line for people to call if you have any problems at all. So those are some of the big pieces of news. Our 40 transactions, more than 40 transactions online, our senior hours on Wednesdays, our partnership with the AAA offices. And I think right around Walpole, Debbie, you guys are lucky. You've got a couple AAA offices pretty close by. I think Westwood, right, is probably the closest AAA office to Walpole. Franklin AAA is pretty close to Walpole. The Brockton. So if you're looking for a Registry of Motor Vehicles to do an in-person transaction, the closest one to Walpole would probably be Brockton. Our Milford Registry of Motor Vehicles is a dedicated center to just doing registrations. So we've dedicated the Milford RMV to do registration transactions only. So you can't go to Milford to renew your driver's license. For folks in Walpole, the closest registry to renew a driver's license, like I said, would be the Brockton Registry. So any questions?
Michelle, yeah, are there some registries that are still closed right now?
There are, Debbie. Yeah, a few of our registries are still closed, like the Roslindale registry is still closed. The Lowell registry is still closed. So right on our website, Debbie, if you visit mass.gov/RMV, just scroll down on our homepage and you'll see locations and AAA sites. And we always recommend that people check online first, because there are obviously changes, through this pandemic. We've been changing and modifying and opening up more centers, but there are still a couple, Debbie, that are closed.
Okay. Phil is just asking, what about Westwood?
Westwood AAA is open. Westwood AAA is open.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just as far as the AAA, one thing I get always confused about is what things can't you do at a AAA that you must do at an RMV?
Well, the one thing that the AAA office cannot do is issue a brand new credential. So for instance, if someone has never had a driver's license, they cannot go to AAA and apply for a brand new driver's license. And again, right on our website, if you clicked on Westwood AAA, scroll down to all the services they offer, but like the AAA office in Westwood doesn't do road tests. They don't do learner's permit exams. Basically, all they do are renew driver's licenses, renew ID cards, and I believe that's about it.
So no registration plates and things like that.
Oh, right. No, I'm so sorry. They can renew a registration. You're right. Yeah, they can renew driver's licenses, ID cards, and vehicle registrations. And they can also, one other great thing that they can do is they can put the word veteran on your license or ID card. So if you if you're a veteran, bring in with you to either AAA or to the registry, bring your DD-214, the long form, and we can print the word veteran on your ID card or your driver's license. And we want to thank you for your service, but AAA can do that as well.
There are questions. I know some people joined a little late. We're talking to Michele Ellicks from the Registry of Motor Vehicles. Anyone have any questions for Michele?
Okay. The other thing, while we're waiting to see hands or questions, I want to remind everyone to gather your paperwork for the registry or for AAA sooner rather than later. Because of 9/11, the Real ID Act was created, and part of the Real ID Act requires that we now prove lawful presence and date of birth in order to renew our driver's license or our ID card, even for first-time applicants. So if you have grandkids and they're getting ready to apply for their driver's license, they need to prove lawful presence too. And the way you do that, you have to provide us with either an original birth certificate, or a certified version of your birth certificate. And the birth certificate must be issued by a city or town. Okay, so it has to be issued by a municipality. We do not accept hospital birth records, for instance, to prove lawful presence. We could not accept a baptismal certificate to prove lawful presence. The Real ID Act is a federal mandate. So it was created by Congress many years ago, as I said, as a result of 9/11. So you do now have to prove lawful presence one time. And then once we have that document in our system, the next time your license or ID expires or is up for renewal, you're not going to have to prove lawful presence again. But so that's probably one of the biggest things people are, biggest items on their to-do list. Find that lawful presence document because you're going to need it. Now, if you have a passport, so I mentioned the birth certificate, right? That's one document that proves lawful presence. But if you can't find your birth certificate, you can choose from other documents like a valid passport. So if you have a valid passport, valid and unexpired passport, that is a document that you can use to prove lawful presence. There are some other documents on the list as well, like a foreign passport with a visa affixed to it, or a certificate of naturalization, a certificate of citizenship, refugee travel document, employment authorization documents. So there are about 11 different documents that you can choose from to prove lawful presence. And you just need to bring in one, or when you're going online to renew your license, you key in the serial number of that document and the system will verify. Now, if that document, sometimes maybe some of you have tried to renew your license or your ID online and you keyed in your birth certificate serial number into the system and the computer stopped you. Sometimes the computer will stop a customer if it doesn't, if it's not able to verify that serial number. So the computer will tell you, this is as far as you can go. You must make an appointment to come in with your document so the registry can verify that document. In that case, if a person is trying to renew an ID card, okay, not a driver's license, but an ID card, I want to tell your customers to, your residents, to call that phone number, that dedicated senior line, if they're trying to do an online ID card renewal and the computer stops them for whatever reason, the system might stop them because it doesn't recognize a document. Call the number, and if you have an email address, you can email us. You can email me directly. And I can work with driver licensing and have them send you a link. So you might be able to upload that document, which is pretty awesome. So our driver licensing department has been working around the clock to help folks be able to complete their ID renewals and their license renewals if they're younger than 75 online. So there is a, back office at the registry. So could give you this email address, but it's pretty lengthy. So I don't know if there's an opportunity maybe after we could link it to the program. So that might be a good thing.
Yeah, if you certainly send that to me, Michelle, and I can include that in
Okay,
great. With the video. There was another question that popped up about laminated copies of your papers. Wondering, those, I guess, are not accepted.
You are right. You are absolutely right. Great question. Thank you for that. Yes, so we cannot accept laminated documents. If you have to come into the registry, renew your driver's license in person, we cannot accept laminated documents because due to the requirements of the Real ID Act, whatever document you give us now, we have to scan that into our system, into our licensing and ID card database. So, and obviously laminated document wouldn't scan. So yeah, if your, if your birth certificate or something has been laminated, don't bring it in. You're going to have to get a replacement of it, or you're going to have to choose from another document. So that's a great question. Thank you. The other thing we don't, on that same line, the other thing we cannot accept if you're coming in person is a photocopied document. Because again, we have to scan everything, Debbie, and photocopied documents do not scan well. We're not able to capture all of the information that we need. So good rule of thumb, and the federal law requires no laminated documents and no photocopied documents.
All helpful information to know ahead of time before you get to the registry, right?
For sure. Yep. We'll do our best to help people get prepared and be ready to go before they come in. Because your success is our success. That's what that's how we roll at the registry. We want our customers to have success. And we'll do everything in our power to help them. And you and your staff at the COA have been absolutely wonderful supporting the residents in the community, but also letting us know if there's a situation that needs to be triaged, and we can help out in any way. So thank you for all the work you're doing on your end as well, Debbie.
Thanks, Michelle. And I think, even just having a phone number, one of the things that's so frustrating, I think if you go online and you're having trouble, there's no number to call or nobody answers. So just having that as a resource is also really helpful. Any
That
other
is
questions
great.
from anybody?
I have a question. I
Sure,
did
go
come
ahead,
in
Joe.
later. That dedicated senior line, is that what you're talking about, Debbie?
Yes.
And what was it, 40 transactions or something? I missed that part of it. I came in a couple of minutes late. So could I have that number, the dedicated senior line, help line or something?
Sure. Yep. Just to repeat, the dedicated senior telephone number is area code 857
Wait a minute. Okay, hold on.
3.
Eight
Oh,
five
take your time.
seven, eight five
Yep.
seven,
368
368.
368
Again, 368?
8005.
Oh,
Yep.
8005. So 857-368-8005. And that's called Senior Helpline?
Correct. Yep. That's the Registry of Motor Vehicles helpline for anyone 75 or older.
Oh, you have to be 75 or older. I'm only 67.
Well, yeah. And the reason, well, you know what? I think if you're, I don't quote me on this, but I think if you're, in your 70s, I don't think they're going to hang up on you. Yeah, but the reason why we especially want to help our customers 75 and older is because, as we talked about earlier, Massachusetts law requires them to come in person to renew their driver's license in person. So for the rest of us who are younger than 75, we can renew it online. So we don't have to make an appointment to get into the registry. So that's why we really have this line open for anyone 75 or older, because those are the people that are required by law to go into the registry or go into AAA in person to renew their driver's license. So and that's a big chunk of the population.
And you mentioned 40 transactions. What was that about?
Yeah, so our website, which is mass.gov/RMV, offers more than 40 different transactions, from anything from obviously renewing a license if you're younger than 5, renewing a mass ID card for any age, because there's no age limit on renewing an ID card. You could be, have an ID card and you're 100 years old and you can renew your ID card online. Not the driver's license, obviously, but your ID card. Changing your address if you've moved and you need to change your address, because that's really important too, because we want to make sure we have the most up-to-date information for you. But those are just a couple of the more than 40 transactions. Renew your registration. You can renew your vehicle registration online.
Oh, nice.
Lots of things you can do. Yeah. Cancel
Thank you.
license plates. That's another one. If you're done driving and you don't want your car anymore, you can go right online and cancel the license plates. You don't have to come in person to cancel your license plate.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I know it's difficult to get you on the phone. I've tried the RMV, and sometimes I almost have to have a book, beside me, because it takes like 45 minutes to an hour sometimes. Why does it take so long?
Yes. The wait time on our contact center can get kind of lengthy. And that's because, here in Massachusetts, we've got like close to 7 million license holders and 6.5 million registered vehicles. So, we've got millions and millions of customers.
Oh, that's why.
And
Yeah.
of course, limited resources, right?
Mhm.
So that's why we do have this dedicated line for folks 75 and older. But here's another tip: when I talk to the contact center, generally, if you can call earlier in the day, closer to 9 a.m., obviously,
Mhm.
your wait time on the telephone line will be, on our main number, will be a lot less. Now, the wait times on our dedicated senior line is about 1 minute. Maybe at the worst case scenario, about 2 minutes, but that's
Mhm.
the max. So it's pretty awesome.
And the Roslindale office, I used to go there to the RMV. When did you? You didn't say when it would reopen, but when do you think?
Unfortunately, I don't know. I would have to talk to the registrar about the plans for opening up Roslindale. I'm really not sure. I know they're doing everything in their power to get every registry open again, but always
Yeah.
check online. That's another good tip. I'm glad you asked that, because check on our website, mass.gov/RMV, and scroll down to the locations. I think the tab says RMV and AAA locations. And always check there first, because it lists every single registry, whether they're open or closed, what their hours are, what services they provide, what kind of payment they accept. So always, do as much as you can online if you have access to the internet. The better prepared you are. You might save yourself from even having to make a trip to the registry. And again, I know you joined us a little bit later. We are by appointment only. You can no longer just show up at the Registry of Motor Vehicles. You have to have an appointment in advance. And that's why, again, we have that dedicated number to help people make an appointment if they have to come in to renew their license or take care of any other transaction. Some transactions do require being in person.
So do you have to be 75 or older? Like if you just want to make an appointment to go to the RMV for something?
No, you can be any age and make an appointment to come into the registry. We've
Okay,
got,
so you can call that number
people.
anyway then. So it's the same number.
You know what? Give it a try. Give it a try. Yeah, I think for
Okay.
folks who are patrons of the Walpole Council on Aging, I would say yes. You can certainly use call the dedicated senior phone line. And if they tell you, sorry, we can't help you, well then I'll provide an email address at the end of this program, and you can email us at the registry as well. We even have a feedback link on our website, so if ever you wanted to, just ask us a question out of the blue or whatever, you can go right to our website. There's feedback, but like I told Debbie earlier, I'll provide Debbie with a dedicated email address too. We can help you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? What do you think, Debbie?
On mute is what I think. Sorry, I was talking. This is all great information. I really appreciate you coming on today, Michele. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. It's so good to see you, and so
You
good to see
too.
everyone.
Great to see you
I
as
wish
well.
you all the best. Yeah, and we'll be in touch, Debbie. So if you don't need me and no one
Okay.
has any other questions, I guess I'll say goodbye for now.
Okay. Thank you so
All right.
much. All right.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye, everybody.